Namaste. I have Dr. Vaidyanathan again. Let's talk about demonetization because there's a huge discussion, controversy. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah. You see, this demonetization, so much as what you call acres of papers and gallons of ink, not ink nowadays, it's all typing only, has been spent on it. But I would say that it has been a very, very significant and important step on three counts. One is the government showed that it can take a very, very dramatic or importantly, economy changing decision.
So decisiveness
very decisive
is a message being sent.
Message. Second is, it's very important in India that government could do something which is not known to public at large, because typically in India, before government decides something, the channels will talk about it and newspapers will write about it.
The exam paper leaks out.
Right. It's a situation like that. But in this particular thing, I am really extraordinarily amazed about it. Actually, I think this is one of the rarest occasion where a government took a decision without anyone knowing about it. Actually, I was told a very few handful of bureaucrats with the PM only knows about it, and there were reports even finance minister was not fully apprised about it actually.
So that's a good accomplishment. What did it do to the people?
Third is, I think it has, everybody is telling all the money has come to banks, and which is not true. One is a good portion of money which was flooding the Naxal belt has been significantly affected. For instance, 169 or so were supposed to have been affected Naxal districts. Today it is hardly something like 44, 45.
Because they had the old notes.
Yes, they were not able to change the old note, and in several places the old notes were actually got and confiscated, another thing. And wherever all the notes came to the bank, the point is lot of black money has come into bank, which means the black money has come into circulation in the form of bank deposits.
But now there is, the new notes are as much in quantity as the old notes. So the current cash economy is back.
You see, cash economy in a country like India will always be, because we are growing. People are not realizing that. You see, when a couple of years before we were hardly, 1 lakh to 125 lakh crore type of thing. Today 150 lakh crore. You see, 6-7% we are growing.
No, but people thought that this new economy, after money is taken, everybody will be using Paytm and things like that. It will be all electronic money. But that hasn't happened.
It has happened. There is a growth in digital economy also.
Yes.
And banking also there is a growth.
Yes.
But still, you see, I think most important is we are not Lithuania or, Latvia or something. We are 125, 1.3 trillion,
1.3.
Roughly
billion.
125 crores, So, and then we are spread over 29 states, and it's not going to be a, people want a magic wand, Modi should come, stand and track, and then from next day everybody will start. No, it's not going to happen like that. There is a significant shift which has taken place. At the same time, as your economic activity is more and more, the cash usage is also there. But one important thing is, cash usage has not more than proportionately grown than economic activity. It is in the same line with economic activity, and I am sure it will show stability over a period of time.
Is the black economy gone or still going?
It is still there, of course. One can't just you see. Let me put it lightheartedly. As long as Bollywood and cricket are there, black economy will be there. Okay, these two are what we loosely call the major two areas of black economy. Other than that, trade, commerce, and everywhere.
But real estate, so much black money.
Significant amount, actually. I agree with you. So these are. See, it is not easy to eliminate black economy. Incidentally, I don't think black economy has been eliminated anywhere in the world. Take Germany, take England, except the order of magnitude one. Second is, where does it affect? In those countries, it is wholesale. when they buy aircraft or when presidents and senators and other things are accused of. And in India, it is retail also. When you go to get your
Small
land,
scale.
Small scale,
Sorry.
very, very small scale.
So, but isn't the purpose of this Aadhaar to actually document all the transactions and get rid of all this?
Very important. Again, everybody jumps into this and, see, the point is people want results in sort of 1.5 days. It won't happen at all. It takes long period of time for instance, banking habits. 76,000 banks are there after nationalization in 1969. That time hardly couple of thousand banks were there. But it has slowly spread in small towns and rural areas and other. But still there is a huge portion of economy which is not covered by banking.
Yeah. So the disruption that demonetization caused, a lot of people felt wiped out. Has that been restored or are they still wiped out?
That disruption has been restored. The point I would criticize demonetization on a couple of counts. One is it should have been much better planned. One is the number of ATMs which were not working or accommodating the new type of currencies were not properly estimated. So they were recalibrating and doing all sorts of rubbish work. The second is they should have involved actually CRP or CISF, BSF and other thing, including army if you ask me, in terms of their transportation network to transfer cash from one location to faraway location.
Huge quantities of cash.
Huge quantities of cash to the ATMs.
Right.
They could have involved actually all these. Third is they could have also involved the entire retail network of big companies like ITC, Hindustan Lever, Patanjali and so many of these have a huge retail network in the country. Shriram Transport, so many of them. And they could have been appointed as temporary, what you may loosely call banking channels, where they disperse to the public at large, and they are very reasonable and acceptable. And we have something like millions of these independent financial advisors for all these mutual funds. Yeah. They all could have been, in the sense, if you had involved large
there could have been more intermediaries between the government and the public to make this happen.
The long queues would have been much lesser. And in India, I always say,
all this is one time, so it's done. Now, how are we better off or worse off having done it?
Better off is because one is, of course, there is a significant decline in the cash transaction on big tickets. For instance, when you are registering a house in Bangalore or Chennai or something, people used to talk about 40 in cash and 60
but
in
they're still
white.
doing in Delhi. They're doing it.
No, but it has come down. There is a concern. There is a worry because what do you do with the cash today? There are not many people accepting, because if you give me some 20 lakh, what do I do with that? How do I spend it? It's not very easy today actually compared to the pre-demonetization time. Second is the ability of government to capture data. This enforcement directorate, IT and other thing has also increased. They are able to, for a lot of big transaction, for instance, if you go to buy a car today, if you say I will pay in cash, they won't accept. The dealer won't accept it. Even in many of the jewelry shops, unless you are the old customer known for, otherwise they will say, give it in the form
So the critics are expecting too much too soon, but long-term effect will be a good one.
Very good one.
And so if you look at it as a long-term thing and forget the short-term, it was a good thing.
And in India, kindly remember one important thing, there is a law and there is a practice.
Yeah.
These two don't go together.
Right.
In Europe or England, there is a course in chartered accounting called banking law.
Right.
In India, there is a course called banking law and practice. There is a huge difference between the two.
Right.
Similarly, we have income tax law and practice.
Yeah.
So, in terms of reaching out to the last mile, it's not going to be very easy. It's going to be tougher. For instance, when cell phone was introduced, everybody was telling who will use cell phone.
Right.
Only the rich will use and all, without knowing anything. Today, actually, cell phone is used by all sort of riffraffs. The lowest common denominator is also carrying a cell phone.
Yeah. So tell me now, GST.
Yeah.
Let's talk about GST.
If you ask me, it's one of the great revolutionary steps in India.
Okay.
It has established three things. One is 29 states came together and have agreed on some common principle and decided to forego their individual taxes. If I remember, something like 18 to 19 taxes have been merged into GST. into one single tax and for the whole country.
But why are people complaining? Or some people?
Some people are complaining because GST is reduced to some extent the ability to do black money transaction, because it again is capturing all the movements and and then you can get what you may loosely call your refund, provided you have a GST number and other thing. So it is really what should have been done, according to me. The limit for GST should have been much higher, say up to something like 10 crore or something. Transaction businesses could have been exempted. Overall, over a later period, they could have been incorporated into the GST. What we have tried to do, you see, our situation is the pendulum swings from one extreme to another extreme. We had an outcry system in the share market. Everybody was shouting, the share prices jumping up and down and other thing. Today, there is absolutely no outcry system. You can't transact in share market today unless you do it through the software, or unless you do it through the IT. So this is the other extreme. In New York still there is outcry system, in Tokyo still outcry, but we either are here or either there, like that. So GST also they try to, so you try to incorporate all sorts of small fellows into the system immediately. According to me, you always catch a big fry, streamline it, stabilize it, and then introduce all these people. So the criticism is mainly because of people who are not used to paying, what you may.
So that's a transition thing.
That's a transition,
so
definitely.
In 3 to 5 years, you think people will be better off with GST?
Of course, I would say people don't realize it's a revolutionary step.
Yeah.
18 taxes. You see, EU has not been able to succeed in this time.
Yeah.
We have succeeded.
Yeah.
Actually, we are like EU in terms of the size and the economy.
Right.
One single tax for the country is unimaginable actually. And many.
So why don't they abolish income tax?
Oh, that's a separate thing.
No, but with GST, I mean, the income tax is small amount.
Direct, indirect tax.
But they could get the same amount of money through GST by raising it and get rid of income tax.
No, already there is a criticism. GST has got 4 slabs and we should make it into 1 slab. And anyhow, GST is an indirect tax which has replaced.
It's a consumption tax.
Yeah, it's a primarily. And the income tax is supposed to be for equity purposes, in terms of, the greater income, lesser income and other. GST, the GST type of taxes are generally in economic regressive taxes, whereas income type of taxes are progressive taxes. That's a traditional belief actually. Anyhow, GST is, I would say it's a very, very major thing. It's not something which is, first of all 29 states agreed for this.
So if demonetization is a good step, GST is a good step, what next do you think the government should do of that scale?
Of that scale is bring back the black money kept abroad by Indians.
But how to do that? But that was a promise.
Yeah, that's a promise, and it's you see, United Nations resolutions are there on that in terms of the anti-corruption thing. We can pass a ordinance and get it passed by the parliament. Any money kept by Indians abroad belongs to the government of India, and get it approved by the president.
So this would require a big amount of enforcement.
Huge amount, and then appoint a receiver for this and contact all the tax havens, 71 of them under my list, and all the banks, and tell any money kept by Indians, kindly inform us. And those which are kept for business purposes and normal transaction purposes through RBI, that is separate. That we won't do anything. But anything else belongs to the state of India.
There is a conspiracy theory which says that all parties are party to this.
Yes,
and
yes.
so nobody wants to go attack the other guy, because then they will also attack them. So all the parties are kind of a mafia. All parties are involved and they're protecting each other. They talk one thing to the citizens, but they're not enforcing it.
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
It's not a conspiracy theory, it's actual actually.
So
everyone is involved in that.
It means it can't ever be done.
I'll tell you, the business people, the film people, the sports people, and all the political leaders,
people, yeah.
all are involved in this. It's nothing top secret. Income tax wanted to appoint officials in Switzerland. Not required. You just go to Zurich. There is a Indian restaurant. You sit there for a period, morning 7 o'clock till evening 6. You will find who is who of India coming there, and after doing transaction in the Zurich bank. So it's not something which is top secret or anything. There are 2 fallouts from this. One is lot of agencies like ISI and CII knows about it. So they are able to blackmail our Indian leaders that, if you take XYZ action, we will release this. That's one thing. But what will happen, I'm telling, over a period of time, somewhere or other, I'm sure, the government or the segment of the government will initiate action because of public pressure.
Yeah, in China, they started hanging people, actually, capital punishment for corruption.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very unpopular. Everybody complained about human rights, but Chinese did it, and now things are better there.
Yeah, but in India, the amount of ropes you require will be
good for the rope economy.
The rope industry will flourish, actually.
Yes, good. So this is another good discussion we've had.
Yeah.
And we'll be back and we'll talk about more important issues with Professor Vaidyanathan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here and also hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified. To donate, please click this button.